Morning, everybody. How are you? It's Wednesday. I don't know if any of you got a chance to look at my video last night, or you can check it out. It's archived under live at on my content of my uh, website or whatever they call that for YouTube under Jeffrey Bruff. I believe I will find out for sure because somebody told me it's not. That's not the title that my excuse me, website is under there. So anyhow, what's going on? Well, I got a letter the other day. I got a news letter the other day from Mother Jones claiming that there's talk of Trump is trying to sneakily suspend Social Security and at the same time privatize it. Now, I didn't find any information about suspending it. Um, I don't think if there is, if it's out there, he doesn't want it out there because that'll be more than a riot. That'll be a revolution if he does that. Privatizing, I don't know enough about it to know if that's any good. I just don't want to lose my investments, and I don't want him messing with my money, you know. Uh, and I don't want to lose how much I'm getting. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Trump and his cohorts are just looking for ways to steal it. You know, that's what because they. I don't understand why they want so much poverty in this country. You know, and it's happening already. I read an article. This was from CNN, so this wasn't one of these YouTube articles that you never know if it's true or not. This was a article about this farmer who over half his crop was rotting on the vines and whatnot because he had nobody to pick it because of the immigration raids. They took they took three-quarter of his personnel out off the fields when they did that. So he's hitting some financial problems right now. Um, and that's going to be across the board. You're going to see a lot of that in the construction industry in certain parts of the country, and but in all agricultural areas, especially if you're picking strawberries. Because I've watched those people work. That's back-breaking work. When I was in California, and those people don't live in California. They come up here to make some money and take it back home with them because the money they make here, as little as it might be, is worth more down in Mexico than it is here. You know, that's the problem with the dollar. The dollar ain't worth shit here, but it's worth a lot of money in other countries. That's why I'm in Colombia, because of the exchange rate. I couldn't live on the Social Security I get in the United States, so I moved to Colombia with my wife. She's Colombian. She wanted to come down here and be with her grandkids and everything. So she is, and I'm hanging around doing nothing, being bored, and having some regrets about that, but only not anything to do with the financial aspects of it, though. I'm very happy with the financial aspects of it, the way I'm with my standard of living and everything. So, 20 years down here, and I still have a standard of living that was far higher than it was back 20 years ago in America. So, see what happens. But I can't find real articles about him suspending Social Security payments. I found, like I said, I found articles. I found an article about a real article promising that, talking about it privatizing it, but I don't know whether he can. I don't know the whole deal about that. That won't be the first time that the Republicans have tried that. They'll do anything, but why are they so intent on destroying our workforce? They think that immigrants are taking our jobs. I said this before. Find me one white guy, okay, that's got a high school education, that's going to go out and sit down and applied for a job of picking fruit. I tell you this story about when I was managing a restaurant in Cedar Knolls. I had to interview for, they asked me to interview some candidates for busboys. I went down there, I interviewed some of them. The one that I remember was a young man who came in, and I said, "What do you expect to be paid?" He says, $10 an hour plus tips. That was more than I made. Okay? So I wasn't about to, and I was a kitchen manager, so I wasn't about to, say, I just said, there was a way around it, and I got around them, but my God, it's ridiculous. People want to be paid so much money for this job, and the thing is, it's a tip job, so nobody pays you a lot of money, because if you're any good, if you're in the right location, you make a lot of money. Country clubs are the only ones that don't, their tipping is different. They pay you a much higher wage because you don't get tips. They take their members are set that eat in the restaurant are assessed. I don't know what it is. I think it's 15%, and they turn around and then they divide that money up, and they give it to the wait staff and what have you. Even the kitchen staff, I think, is part of it. So it's not, you're not making, you make good money, but you're not making a fortune. All right, nobody makes you have to work in a restaurant that's of that caliber to make a ton of money. You have to be extremely professional in your abilities. So to sit there and say, it's like chefs, guys go to culinary school, come out, and they want a $100,000 job. You have to go work for somebody else for about a year, 2 years that's really, really good, and have them bring you up through the restaurant till you get to sous chef, and then you can go out on your own and make $100,000. You'll make close to it as a sous chef if you're in the right restaurant. And I'm talking Michelin star type people, which means you have to be exceptionally good. The average chef gets paid $9, $10, something like that. You're basically paid the same as a cook in a food truck. That's all. It's people have we have two different types of people in the United States. But when you're dealing with bringing manufacturing jobs back to the United States and stuff like that, educated people don't want those jobs. They did an interview with this guy for Motorola that promised to manufacture his phones in the United States, and he was about 3 years into it when he gave up, and then now he's explaining the reason is, he says it's a shortage of materials at competitive prices. It's a shortage of manpower at any price. There's just not enough qualified people to do this kind of work in the United States. And I read an article a few years ago. We have too many lawyers, and because there's not enough. The lawyers don't make the money that they used to make unless they're exceptionally good and they're into specific fields, right? But the average kid coming out of law school doesn't make enough to pay back his debt. And, I don't know. I watched the show Blue Bloods. I don't know if you watched that or not. And there's one of the sons of in the Reagan family is Jamie. Jamie graduated Harvard Law School, or I don't know whether he actually graduated law school or he was about to graduate law school, and he decided to become a cop instead. Now he's got debts, and he says it's like 100,000. No, man, not if you went to Harvard Law School. It's not like 100,000. All right, it's if you went to Harvard, and I don't know where he did his undergraduate work and all that, but he's got all these loans. Cop's salary isn't going to come close to paying it. So that one I never understood, because his family's not rich. It's a cop family. Um, so, what else was I saying? Um, oh boy. Yeah, so I don't understand what the government's doing with all this stuff. You know, you're taking all the immigrants out, all right, but they're not stealing jobs. The ones that are staying here, that are on the HB1 or HB2 visas, working for companies like AT&T and IBM and all these other countries, and they're from India, wherever, Pakistan, wherever they're from, they're the ones that are taking the jobs. They're the ones that are here taking jobs that are well paying and are for educated people. The guys crossing the border aren't taking your job, man. You know, what are they doing? They're preventing you from working at 7-Eleven or from working at Burger King. High school graduates don't want to work at Burger King, most of them. It's depending on what neighborhood they come from, because they find out that they can get more money selling drugs or doing something else. You know? I mean, look at all the advances we got in the United States. They didn't come from people going to college and graduating. Facebook didn't come. He wasn't a college graduate at the time he developed Facebook. Zuckerberg and his friends that he screwed. That's a story for another day. But, you know, that's the whole deal. I don't understand any of this. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If some states were giving immigrants benefits, which I don't necessarily think they were entitled to, but that's not any reason to get them out of the country if they're working. You know, I mean, I watch welfare fraud. I talked about this one time before. I watched welfare fraud and the oranges and whatnot. I've been in finance collecting money for various, for Chrysler back in the, around the 70s, late 60s, or 60s, 70s. And, you know, you saw fraud, how these guys were using their Medicaid and whatever, their welfare checks. You know, that's fine. You know, that's another story. That fraud was correctable without destroying the organization. You know, you just had to weed out the bad people that were sitting around helping these people collect money. And you know, since I don't hear that much about it anymore, I'm assuming they did, or at least a good portion of them, anyhow. All right, let's go. Did anybody watch my video? I think I asked this when I came on. Did anybody watch my video last night? I don't think so, because I didn't see any views on it, you know. You can go check it out, but that's why I stopped doing them the last time. I'm either doing something wrong or nobody watches live videos anymore, you know. And I thanked everybody, so I guess I should do it here. I have gotten up to 13 subscribers, and I thank those people for coming on board. I hope they're not too disappointed in me. As I said, it's very political right now, because that's what's going on in the world. As football starts to play, there'll be more things to talk about, you know. So we have to go there, and I don't know what else to tell you. I try to get in Social Security information, but I got to tell you, I tried calling them to get some answers, and it's very, very difficult. So you have to do a lot of research if you have a Social Security purpose, and don't ask your friends to do the research for you. Do it yourself, so you know what's going on, because your friends may or may not interpret what is said there is to apply to you or not. You know, if you got a friend that's a millionaire and he's giving you advice, tell him to go scratch his ass, because that advice isn't good for you if you're like me, an average Joe with no, you know, going check to check. So we'll take a look at some stuff like that. And if you have a topic, and if you give me a couple of days to do some research, I will try to find answers for you. I can't guarantee I will. You know, because I don't know how to access certain stuff, but I try. But I will. I will definitely learn to give you some sort of answer anyhow, rather than an opinion. You'll get that too, but so hit the subscribe button in the bottom of the video. Hit the little like, you know, the thumbs up. Hit the commentary and say something to me, you know. And we'll talk on tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Thursday? Yes. Had to look up. When you don't work, you know, you get up when you want to get up. You're retired. Days don't matter. That what day it is doesn't matter anymore unless you got a doctor's appointment on a Tuesday. Then you got to know. Oh, I got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. All right. So we'll definitely talk to you tomorrow. So have a good day. See ya.